Tonight, economic sabotage, the scathing rebuke of the NDC minority in Parliament by the majority leader as he fails to get Parliament's emergency sitting to approve controversial $350 million worth of tax waivers.
If we are serious about our country, we will stop these trivialities and move away from undue partisanship and look at the national interest. It is unacceptable we are destroying businesses. And if we think that by destroying these businesses, we will come back to power, we will come to power to have a fresh start and reset, I am sorry.
We have details from the two-day emergency sitting of Parliament that has been described by the minority as a waste of time.
If you look at the cost of recalling 275 members of Parliament, having to take care of them in terms of TNT, in terms of logistics, etc., I didn't think that it was very necessary for us to have this recall.
The fact that we're only able to do 2 businesses out of the whole list of businesses aligned shows that the recall was very unnecessary. It was very unnecessary.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Telecel, connecting energies, holy insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. Majority Leader Alexander Fenyamarking is tonight accusing his colleague NDC MPs of economic sabotage. Yet again, the majority side tried to push through $350 million worth of tax waivers, but were repelled by the minority side, who have been opposing them every step of the way. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante has been in the house for both days and joins me in the studio. Let's first establish why this emergency recall. What were the objectives of the majority side when they asked the Speaker of Parliament to approve a recall?
Well, you will recall that on the 30th of July, the Speaker of Parliament did adjourn the House indefinitely. Barely 24 hours after that, the majority leader did write a memo to the Speaker of Parliament and under Order 58.4 requesting an urgent sitting of the House for some urgent matters for consideration to be taken. There were about 4 of them, but they expand. One is a motion on the financing agreement for the $250 million on the Ghana Energy Sector Recovery Program. The second was the request for tax exemptions for designated beneficiaries under the One District, One Factory program, spanning close to $350 million. And then the Ghana Financial Stability Fund loan from the IDA of the World Bank, also to the tune of $250 million, and some bills, the budget bill, rent bill, University of Local Governance and Development bill, environmental protection bill, social protection bill, interstate succession bill, Chartered Institute of Reconstruction and Insolvency Practitioners bill, Ghana Industrial Property Office bill, and the National Petroleum Authority bill. All these were the key bills from all the businesses that were scheduled. For these 2 days, they were only able to take one. That is the business having to do with the $250 million that was initially rejected in July of this year. That was the only business. And the minority side had made it clear that the first loan having to do with $250 million for the Ghana Financial Stability Fund, they were opposed to it. And again, the tax waivers, they were opposed to it. The majority leader today accusing the NDC MPs of economic sabotage because he believes that the points they've been making are simply not founded and they are just simply trying to sabotage the government.
But what reason did the minority side give for opposing? Let's focus first on the tax waivers.
Definitely. We've been hearing from the minority leader, Dr. Kesel Tuforsen, who's been making the point that in their view, these are waivers that government is simply giving to their cronies.
Evidently clear from the business we have transacted so far in this House. Mr. Speaker, I want to say that there was no way the business we've done so far should have warranted such a recall. Right, Honorable Speaker, as we speak, our country's democracy is at a crossroads, and it's important that the Electoral Commission takes steps to ensure that they will conduct a free, fair, credible, transparent elections. Mr. Speaker, we were recalled to tackle tax exemptions and loans. Right, Honorable Speaker, one of it has been approved, Mr. Speaker, our concern still remains with the tax exemptions. We strongly believe that these giveaways should be curtailed. We strongly believe that these giveaways of tax exemptions is unwarranted, Mr. Speaker, and we believe that at the time that the country is bleeding, Ghana should not be giving such giveaways to crony businesses. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, persistently, this government intends to give away a lot more tax exemptions. But Right Honourable Speaker, once again, the people of Ghana should bear in mind that the NDC minority stands for them. And we will do what is right. We will do the law's work, and ensure that the right thing is done to protect the public purse.
And the majority leader didn't take kindly to this. Actually, on the floor, he was already pointing accusing fingers.
Well, yes, in his usual fiery self, was firing directly at the minority leader, who accused of, siding with some members of his backbench who are trying to sabotage the government's economic agenda.
If we are serious about our country, we will stop these trivialities and move away from undue partisanship and look at the national interest. Mr. Speaker, it is unacceptable. It is unacceptable. We are destroying businesses. And if we think that by destroying these businesses, we will come back to power, we will come to power to have a fresh start and reset, I am sorry. You are destroying your very eggs. Mr. Speaker, I think that we can do better than this as parliamentarians. We can do better than this as a political class. We can do better than this as people who have been elected to lead our people. Mr. Speaker, we should have our disagreements, but to destroy the business life of people who have entrusted their businesses into our economy, who believe in the policies and say that we are not going to pass. When the Committee of Parliament has done its work, and the Committee of Parliament has recommended to the plenary, and plenary says, by certain operations of politics, we are not going to take them. And even in the closing remarks of the minority leader, he still finds space to do politics with it. Mr. Speaker, I'm not an economist. I did law. And if this is coming from an economist and a tax expert, it is very rich, extremely rich.
Let's put this in context. The majority leader says there that this is all part of a ploy to destroy businesses. There were 42 companies in all. 42 companies that had been listed to benefit from these tax waivers, amounting to $335 million. But again, let's highlight that this did not start at $335 million. It started off at $400 million. That was the initial amount that was quoted by the minority. And I recall having that interview with Case Lato Forcing where he said that for them was where they draw the line. They were not going to approve it. In fact, it was an issue for them, even in considering some of the ministers the president had put forth for them to consider. The president actually intervened, called the minority guys to Jubilee House to try and convince them to back this, right? They still say they have issues. Now, talking about businesses, we know that a few businesses were in the queue to benefit. St. Hugh, for example, was going to benefit the highest amount in terms of what was going to be going out. Some $164 million was going to go to St. Hugh, which is the Chinese firm that is into the oil refinery, the St. Hugh Oil Refinery Limited. And a lot of questions were raised there. I mean, this isn't an indigenous Ghanaian company. Why are you giving them that huge amount in terms of tax waivers? There were other businesses that we know on the list that the Parliament was asked to consider.
In fact, if you look at the other paper, they've listed all of them. There is B5 Plus Limited that was set to benefit about $11 million in terms of tax waivers. Again, there is Ferro Fabric Limited also expecting to get $8 million worth of tax waivers. There's also, again, Ferro Fabric expecting to get about $8.039 million US. Everpure Holdings Limited also expected to get 1.7 million under the 1D1F tax waivers that were. In fact, if you look at the other paper, the last page 17, they list all of them from Schneider Transformers, Grand Chem Limited, CK Engineering and Construction Limited, Bika Food Ghana Limited, Emperor Foods and Beverages Limited, Yabiko Enterprise Limited, Leslie Company Limited, Matrix Industry, Specialty BS, Prestige Integrated Agro Company Limited, Sunda Ghana Investment Limited, Sunda Ghana Limited, Corban Company Limited, Keda Ceramics Company Limited, Fukai Company Limited, Les Farm Industries, Yellowtail Limited, Golden Latex Products, Sankofa Brewery, Cements de l'Afrique Ghana Limited, Triton Oak Industries, Recpat Company, Eco Poly Industries, Nungwa Warehouse Limited, RMS Ghana Limited, Amponsa Efa Pharmaceuticals Limited, Agrohow Ghana Limited, YMHY Doors Ghana Manufacturing Company Limited, and a number of them all listed on the other paper to get these bricks.
And this gives some clarity also and some perspective. This is the same issue that it was rumored was a reason why the former deputy finance minister apparently was removed as the chair of the finance committee.
Yes.
I had opportunity to ask him that question when I interviewed him. He will not be drawn on the subject of why he was removed, but he did not hold back in telling me that he was opposed to these tax waivers as the government, the MPP, the majority spokesperson on finance in the committee. He was opposed to it. And something unprecedented happened, that the Minister for Trade and Industry files an urgent question in the House to get his own majority colleague chair to come to the House to come and answer why he was preventing this particular
tax waivers from
getting through. He's no longer there.
Yes.
And shortly thereafter,
Patrick Bwama is now the new chair, and the tax waivers are still struggling to get out of committee to come to the floor.
And not even an emergency sitting.
Yes,
in the House.
Exactly. And in fact, you clearly sense that the majority are racing against time. Parliament, they were expected to come back at the end of October to do just about 4 weeks and then go for election and then return. In 4 weeks, if all these do not get through, these issues will, as it were, evaporate and they will just not come again. And so these are key issues for the majority. Today they were seeking to push them through. And in fact, for all these 2 days, Kwaku Kwarteng has not been at this emergency sitting. He has not been there for both days. We do not understand if he has official permission not to be there. But clearly, there were some issues having to do with numbers. If he had all 138, you can push a vote because the Speaker, as it indicated, this was part of the businesses he had admitted to be done.
Because it will come down eventually to a vote.
It will come down to a vote. And if there was a voice vote, and then it was challenged, it will come down to the numbers. In fact, at some point, the majority leader himself, speaking during his closing remarks, says he accepts responsibilities and speaks in a certain bit of a coded language saying that they're going to put their house in order, and then when the house returns, they'll make another attempt to get this through.
And you make a very important point here. Do I get a sense, and you were in the House, you've been in the House the last 2 days during this emergency sitting, that although the majority side calls this emergency recall, they may not have brought all their numbers to get the business that they had recalled their House over done. And there's a sense we're also getting from the minority side that they see this as a complete monumental waste of time.
Well, yes, in fact, at one point, the majority side wanted to do one bill, and they were impressing on the Speaker to do it. The Speaker asked the majority leader to look at his back, and it was clear that the numbers were not there. Afenyo Markin asked that the House be suspended for a few minutes and he would try and get members to come in. They didn't get that. Following the adjournment, I've been speaking to Cletus Avoka himself, a former majority leader of the House, together with Delasowa, MP for Pando. They say, from the minority side, they do not believe that this emergency sitting was necessary.
Of all due humility and respect, I don't think that this recall was necessary. You see, from the very day that we adjourned Sinidai, I know the majority leader was up in arms, insisting that there will be a recall, He had not yet judicially considered the issues that they were going to be recalled on. I think it was out of frustration that he was deciding that there must be a recall. And shortly after that, it didn't take 1 month, and then they requested for the recall. I don't think it was in the best of the national interest. If you look at the cost of recalling 275 members of Parliament, having to take care of them in terms of TNT, in terms of logistics, etc., I didn't think that it was very necessary for us to have this recall. And when you are calling people back, they should put your act together. I think there should have been constructive engagement between the majority side and the minority leadership and the Speaker, so that they iron out the issues.
The fact that we're only able to do 2 businesses out of the whole list of businesses aligned shows that the recall was very unnecessary. It was very unnecessary.
I mean, given the amount involved, do you subscribe to the idea that the Speaker has put out that going forward there must be some sort of legislation to guide how these recalls are made?
I really subscribe to it. I mean, there are emergencies. If it's an emergency, we all know it's an emergency, but this one was very unnecessary.
But of course, the majority side disagrees. They believe that they've gotten something done, at least with the $250 million loan that they have succeeded in getting overturned. It was rejected at the first instance before Parliament went on that recess. They've managed to get Parliament to rescind that decision, and they believe this has been useful.
When the leadership of the House met, they thought it wise that there are some other businesses that were not completed that we need to complete it. Clearly, if you look at since yesterday up till now, there were certain decisions that should have been taken behind the scenes before we get into the chambers that were not done. But I'm sure that I trust the majority leader. Definitely is going to go back, put things together, and I'm sure by a week or two we are going to come back and do the right thing.
Because the government business must go on. The work of Ghana must go on. So if it came by rescission, for me, I was even very happy that there was a compromise. So if we have come to a rescission and we have, even within the time limit, we have some other time, why not? Okay, for me, for example, I'm disappointed that the EPA bill was not passed into law. Because you see all the underlying things, all the things underlying Galamsey, that it cannot be controlled, is because we do not have a central body controlling all these things.
And on the subject of the tax waivers, which remains a very controversial matter, the president had intervened. He still did not get the minority side to back down. This is something they initiated in 2021. So you can just imagine how long it's taking to still, even with an emergency recall of Parliament, to still fail to get it through. At the point where, at one point, you had your own majority spokesperson on finance, you used to chair the finance committee, opposed to it. That definitely lays the foundation for what we are seeing tonight with another rejection of these tax incentives that the government wanted to give out to businesses. And you had the majority leader accusing the minority side of destroying businesses. So what is it that the minority side have to say about that? And these tax waivers were pushed by the Trade Ministry. The Trade Minister himself, Katie Hammond, was on the floor arguing for it. I've just been joined right now by a former Deputy Trade Minister, Mutala Mohammed, who of course is a member for Tamale, member of Parliament for Tamale Central on the NDC minority side, joins us on the line right now. And Mutala, I believe you were in the House today when your colleagues were accused, including yourself, of destroying businesses by standing in the way of these tax waivers. Do you accept that what you've done today and what you've done since 2021 is jeopardizing the business interest of Ghanaians generally and those who benefit from these businesses, including jobs that will suffer? At least that's the accusation from the majority leader.
Well, good evening, Evans, and good evening to your cherished listeners. How could that affect businesses? If you listen to the majority leader himself, he said that those taxes are geared towards supporting businesses to help the economy to grow so that jobs will be created. I guess you heard him when he said that. Evans, we have maintained that 1D1F is a very good policy, but recklessly and haphazardly implemented. Now, since they started 1D1F, the expected results of the 1D1F was to have done what? Help the economy grow and reduce the joblessness in this country. Unfortunately, since the implementation of 1D1F, unemployment is not only increasing, it is escalating. This government took over from the NDC an unemployment rate of 8.4. Today, unemployment is 14.7. So why do we think that we should be supporting something that is only geared towards supporting their friends, to deny the state the needed revenue just because the government promises implementing tax waivers?
I've heard that accusation. I've heard that accusation about supporting friends. But are you telling me that Central Oil Refinery, a Chinese firm, is owned by friends of the MPP?
I have just told you, Evans, the purpose for the implementation or the formulation of the policy 1D1F is to help the economy grow, support industries, so that they can expand and create the needed jobs. Is that not the reason? That is what is found in the blueprint of the 1D1F. And I have just told you, the verdict is completely the negative. They took unemployment at 8.4 today. It is 14.7.
But my question...
Would it make sense? No, let me finish, Ivan. Would it make sense for us to continuously supporting a policy which is giving us the negative results?
But I'm questioning your accusation that the tax waivers are for friends of the MPP. That's what I'm questioning.
It is very clear. It is very.
But
clear.
where's the evidence?
Let me give you an example. That tax waiver we gave to the building of the hotel. How many years now? Almost 4 years.
Well, which hotel are you talking about? Which hotel are you talking about?
I'm saying that the tax waiver we gave this government, the tax waiver we gave this government for the purposes of building hotels in this country. Have they finished building the hotels?
Yeah, but that hotel is not on this list. I'm asking a very specific question. I'm asking a very specific question. Looking at the 42 companies on the list, I'm just asking a question about one of them, Central Oil Refinery. Is that one owned by MPP friends, for which reason they want to give them as much as $164 million?
There are many businesses that are parachicks of this government. Their friends have interest in. I can give you a litany of such businesses. But the point I'm making is...
But are they on the list?
Hello?
Are they on the list you've been considering?
So, Ivan, you see, if you check, that's the point I wanted to make. If you take the 1D1F policy document, for you to be given that tax waiver, you must provide evidence of jobs you intend to create. All those companies for whom they are seeking for us to give tax waiver in the name of 1D1F have not provided us evidence of the jobs they are going to create. Why do you think that we should go ahead and approve them? And in any case, Evans, today, if the majority leader and his team were mindful of being responsible, at the time when they were making this point, there were less than 30 in the chamber, less than 30 members. If you check, throughout yesterday and today, we have had the numbers. So if you think that you so care about the people of this country and businesses, why have you failed to marshal your people to come to the chamber? They are following Dr. Bawumia, going around campaigning. We are all supposed to be in our constituencies, but we left it for the good of this country. We came and sat in the house. They didn't have the numbers, and you heard the speaker himself told him, that means majority leader, turn your back and look at your numbers. So why would they turn around to blame the NDC? They have acted absolutely irresponsibly. The leadership have failed to take control of their backbenchers and their members. If they indeed had control of their members, they would have had them in the chamber. Did I hear another colleague say that the EPA, our inability to pass the EPA bill is what is causing Galamsey? You don't need EPA bill to stop Galamsey. What you need is political will, and that political will has taken a sabbatical leave. This is
let's stay on the subject of the tax waivers for a second, because you've been a deputy trade minister before, and you know that sometimes you need to incentivize the business community so they can expand and employ people. You've made the point that 1D1F was put in place, one, to aid our industrialization agenda, but broadly to also employ the teeming unemployed youth. Clearly, if you give these tax incentives, the government believes that's how these businesses grow, expand, and then they can employ.
Ivan, what use will it be to the businesses if you give them tax incentive, yet the dollar is skyrocketing? What benefit will it be to the businesses and industries if you give them tax incentives, yet you increase import duties at the port? What benefit will it be to the business in the industries and businessmen in this country? When doing business in this country, check, we are going down the drain. So tax waivers alone is not a panacea. The most important thing with businessmen, if you check Buta, even industrial players, the most important thing is to ensure that government puts in the necessary measures to stabilize the city. Unfortunately, that is not the case today. The city to the dollar is over 15 cities. So I am saying that tax incentives alone is not the panacea. But in any case, even we are having this discussion because we are not able to do the reasons why they called us. They have spent the taxpayers' money. Look, I won't be surprised if Parliament has spent over 1 million Ghana cedis for the 2-day sitting.
And how do you come to that money?
Absolutely nothing.
How do you come to that amount? Where MPs paid to come?
I say I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not making that statement with sense. Look at the dome. The dome in which we had the sitting is hired. Do you know how much they pay a day for that dome, that structure alone?
But
for 2 days.
But I'm curious, as far as the members of parliament are concerned, when there's an emergency recall, do you have to be giving special dispensation to get to Accra and participate? Are they paying your fuel? Are they paying your accommodation? What happens?
No, the only thing they give us, those in Accra, they give you the fuel based on the distance. Okay? If I'm coming with my Land Cruiser from Tamale to Accra, I don't need to spend less than 3,000 Ghana cedis in and less than 3,000 Ghana cedis out. That should take me over 5,000 Ghana cedis for fuel. What they have given me for fuel is less than 5,000 Ghana cedis.
Is that all you got? Nothing else for the sitting that you actually did?
Absolutely nothing. That is the only thing we got. But in any case, the issue is not about the money. The issue is not about how much sometimes we sacrifice for this country. But I'm saying that they have wasted our time. We came only to approve $250 million loan. That was of importance to the majority leader and this government. If they were so minded of the EPA bill, they would have taken that first. Because yesterday, we had some substantial number, including those from the majority. They were not interested. They were not interested in the EPA bill. They were interested in the $250 million loan. Some of us were against that loan. Some of us were against that loan.
Yeah, but by your colleagues on the committee, even on the minority side, backed it eventually.
Yes, some of us, I agree, but I'm not enjoined to agree with anything.
So you disagree with your leadership on the matter then?
Well, I'm not enjoined to agree with anything the leadership agrees on a matter, except when my party takes a position. I'm saying that some of us, and we made our position very clear, some of us were against that particular loan. So I'm saying that if they were interested in passing the EPA and the tax waivers, they would have considered the EPA first. So to tell us that their inability to fight Galamsey is because we could not pass an EPA bill, it is a good bill. But I'm saying that...
And just finally, in the interest of time, though, just for clarity, the MPs, you were not giving a sitting allowance for the 2 days?
I'm saying that what we were given is what I have just taken. If there's any allowance, I'm not aware.
Okay. Thank you very much. And that day is Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed, is a Tamale Central and DC MP. And you've heard what happened over the last 2 days, the emergency sitting that, according to our parliamentary correspondent, the MPs themselves only got one business done. News Night in a second.
Kind of way, tell you so the more money promo now. Everybody likes money, but what do we like more than money? More money! Join the Telecel More Money promo and win money, more money, and even more money. Simply opt in for free and reload your mobile and broadband and be the lucky winner of the 1 million Ghana cedis grand prize. Also win cash prizes of up to 3 million Ghana cedis in the daily and weekly draws. Opt in for free by dialing *500# or send WIN to 500, or you can opt in on the Telecel Play app. The more you reload, the higher chances of winning in the Telecel More Money promo. Keep loading, win, and be a millionaire.
Telecel. Connecting energies.
Terms and conditions apply. This promo is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining my ears. Bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, me dana mada with holy insecticide spray.
Holy mosquito coil, holy multi-purpose insecticide spray. Dana kron kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302 681582. This advert is FDA approved.
Hello, my name is Mami Akuya, an entrepreneur and a mother of two. My work keeps me busy most of the time, and sometimes it takes me away from my family. But the safety and health of my family is very important to me. As a working mother, I cannot afford to take any chances when it comes to matters of health. That is why I signed up for a family healthcare plan from Equity Health Insurance. My family and I have access to over 700 hospitals, clinics, opticians, dentists, pharmacies, and diagnostic centers across the length and breadth of Ghana. With Equity Health Insurance, I no longer have to worry about medical bills. Anytime a member of my family visits a hospital, Equity Health Insurance has got my family and I covered. What about you? Who has got you covered?
Call Equity Health Insurance on 050-660-7910 and talk to them about your family health needs now. Visit equityhealthinsurance.com for more information. Equity Health Insurance, here for you.
Do you want a healthy smile?
Are missing teeth affecting your confidence? Dental implants could be the solution. Hi, I'm Tanya from Bethel Dental Clinic, Ghana, and I'm here to tell you about the amazing benefits of dental implants. If you're missing teeth or struggling with uncomfortable dentures, dental implants could be the solution you've been looking for. Implants are a special metal screw placed in the jawbone where the tooth or teeth used to be. After a while, this screw or implant fuses seamlessly with the jawbone, providing stability and durability. Dental implants look, feel, and function just like the natural teeth, giving you freedom to eat, speak, and laugh without worry. Bethel Dental Clinic, the smile starts here.
Healthy smile.
It's 94 days to the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. Good evening and welcome to News Night. In the next 60 minutes here, the controversy and tension at the University of Cape Coast takes another twist as a Central Regional High Court restrains Professor Nyaku Bwampong from holding himself out as a Vice-Chancellor of the university. We have details tonight as lawyers of the university and the Vice-Chancellor contest the decision and file a stay of execution at the same court. Also tonight, growing calls for President Akufo-Addo to declare a state of emergency on endangered water bodies and rivers under siege from illegal miners as Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining backs the Ghana Water Company's call of entrusting the fight in the hands of the military.
Let's test the resilience of our military and see whether that problem will not be resolved.
So our proposal is that a state of emergency be declared on the water bodies and then the buffers that are concerned.
Plus, the Water Resources Commission boss discloses that the country will run out of water in the next 8 years. We're live across the country to gauge the extent of devastation of illegal mining in the Ashanti, Western, Eastern and Central regions. You want to stay for that. And the Ghana Police Service is tonight beginning investigation to unravel circumstances leading to the alleged stabbing and killing of an 18-year-old student of O'Reilly SHS by his colleague. We have details as father of the deceased threatens legal action against the Ghana Education Service.
The family is going to hear from them. So the family want to hold on for that 2 weeks and hear what they'll come out with. If they don't come out with anything reasonable, I think we'll take the legal action against them.
And we'll hit the campaign trail events much later. Whilst the NPP flag bearer tours the Okankwe constituencies in the Greater Accra region, the APC outdoors a running mate. CPP votes to retain Nana Sapon Kumankuma as flag bearer, while the PNC's upcoming Congress suffers an injunction. Plus, the NDC flag bearer mocks government for the lack of rainfall this year.
Bibia ayedin omo bad luck nti metimi aka say omo bad luck nti so afi insurance to.
In business, Bank of Ghana looks at tight monetary policy and fiscal consolidation to help sustain city's good run.
And this was Black Stars head coach Otoado says he's anticipating a tough challenge against Angola on Thursday, but confident in his boys to deliver the 3 points.
And we have our climate focus series. Also, experts are saying the devastating blow of the ongoing dry spell should serve as a wake-up call about Ghana's failure to prioritize irrigation.
Unfortunately, it was supposed to be across so many villages and it was a bit overwhelming. If you can even have just 4 places where you can have irrigation scheme, it will help.
You want to stay for details of that and more here on Newsnight on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra and Kumasi. We are on Love 99.5 FM live on myjoyonline.com, on X Spaces and all our social media platforms. Hit us with the hashtag Newsnight. Also via WhatsApp, you can send us your messages at 055 1111 997. I am Emefa Apau.
And my name is Evan Spencer. And it's a strong push tonight for President Akufo-Addo to declare a state of emergency on endangered water bodies and rivers and the siege from illegal mining companies.
Well, the Ghana Water Company, we've heard them issue a warning of halting production due to significant disruption of illegal mining activities and attacks on its staff by perpetrators. Well, the situation is already dire, with water generation already dropping from 70 to 40% nationwide. Already we are hearing also that activities are now affecting the Densu River, which is the main source of production for the Ghana Water Company Limited. Residents in these communities are in a state of despair following the damage done to their livelihoods.
When the mining was not done in the Pra River, we were using it to do all our chores, including drinking it. All we needed to do was to put in camphor. We were using it to cook and wash. Everything has been destroyed now.
In
the beginning of August, we saw some Chinese people working outside the forest reserve. They crossed the Tano River into the forest to do illegal mining. The forestry people, after 2 weeks, the forestry people came to drove them away, but they left their machines on the road.
Well, we've been hearing from the Lands and Natural Resources Minister, Samuel Abujinapo. He was on the Super Morning Show today, and he served notice of a major crackdown on Galamsey hotspots following the disruption in water supply, especially in the Ashanti and Central regions.
We are going to have the review today, and I'm 1,000% certain, and I can give you the firm assurance that we're going to ramp up our enforcement measures. So all these places you are talking about, we're going to have a cleanup there. We're going to have a complete soup. We're going to send law enforcement agencies to take a soup of that whole stretch. And not just there, so many other places, particularly the central region. We're going to do that. You can be rest assured of that, and you can monitor that. As I say, Operation Halt has never been a continuous operation. It's always been a surgical one. And whenever we find that there's a particular place where there's a rise in illegal mining, or there's a rise in activities and PDT and the rest, we move them in. We're going to conduct the review today, and within the next 24 hours, we're going to find the resources and move them.
We'll hear more from the minister on this particular situation and the intervention. He talks about a stakeholder engagement also that will be happening shortly. But the managing director of the Ghana Water Company, Evans, we've been hearing from him in our latest hotline documentary, Poisoned River, actually asking government to entrust the military with the responsibility of protecting these endangered waters. And today, we've also been hearing from the convener for the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining, Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe, backing that particular call.
You wonder where we went to sleep, that now by the side of the road, when on the Accra-Kumasi road, you can see the Galamsey actually happening. You wonder where we want to sleep, where now if you go onto all our major water bodies, there are some funds that are sitting on the water body. What has happened to our, the drones that we got? You know what now the most of these illegal miners do? When they get into these forest reserves, they actually jam the area so that you can't even fly a drone into the space. Yesterday, I was with Evans. The Water Research Institute, they are not even able to, Water Research Commission, they are not even able to send their people to go and take samples to measure. So, you see, Galamsey is a national crisis, but has local solutions. So by now we should be asking of the DCs, the MCs, the police commanders in these communities what it is that they are doing. But the media coalition, we are regrouping again, and we're grateful for multimedia especially that has kept this particular fight going on and up to this particular point. But we are reorganizing, and we're happy that generally now all the media are focusing on this particular issue and raising it up. Next week we're hoping to have a press conference. Okay. Now we don't want to get other people standing behind us and the media at the forefront. We're going to be calling on labor. We're going to be calling on our chiefs. We're going to be calling on the churches. We all need to come to the front and tell the president that currently the current president is the one in charge. We need to deal with the issues of our water bodies. So our proposal is that a state of emergency be declared on the water bodies and then the buffers that are concerned.
So that's the convener of the coalition against illegal mining.
Well, Kenashibe mentioned that he was with me last night. Indeed, he was. We were on PM Express yesterday on the same subject. And a few revelations there. The Water Resources Commission revealed that now the Galamseyers are now preventing the scientists who work for the Water Resources Commission from getting close to the river bodies to take samples to test for turbidity. And they have erected barriers with armed men that are now manning the water bodies. So the Galamseyers now are policing the water bodies, preventing the officers of the Water Resources Commission from taking the samples to test if the water turbidity is good enough. They are now having to fly drones because the Galamseyers are not allowing them to access the water bodies anymore to measure the turbidity based on the color of the river. That's how bad. They are circumventing the Galamseyers to do their jobs. And then he also tells us that the prediction that we will run out of treatable water, it had been estimated based on the numbers that we could reach that point as early as the next decade. He says that can come way earlier than that based on what they're seeing, and that the water turbidity levels we're seeing in Ghana is the worst in the world. They haven't seen it anywhere else in the world apart from, say, South America. But even that, he says, it's not as widespread in terms of the totality of the water body that they have there. And that is what he is pointing to as the next crisis. And we also clear that we can't even import water anymore if that happens, because our neighboring countries have their water bodies that enter into Ghana. Right, and so it's not like they're actually now looking at how we can get water to them. So when that time comes in less than a decade, we cannot go and lay pipes, say, to Burkina Faso or to Ivory Coast and ask them to sort of get us water into our own land. Listen to Dr. Bob Alpha.
You already mentioned some of the figures in terms of the turbidity values. This is very common across the southwestern area. You mentioned some of the areas, and the picture is very gloomy. It is frightening, in fact, to put it bluntly. I really hope, and like the previous panelist said, it is not just about hope, but we need to keep doing something to trigger the change that we all need. I can tell you, it has a cascading effect not only on the water supply, but the economy of Ghana, the lives of people. And we have a small group of people who are making millions out of this. And to paraphrase what you put as your poisoning people in this country, it is heart-wrenching to even think about it. And the impudence in which they operate, not only within the buffers of the rivers, but they operate in the rivers. And they have their own personal security to even prevent regulators from taking data of the water to analyze.
Is that happening to you?
Yes, of course. My men go to the ground. We measure turbidity values almost every week to see areas that were much better. What is the situation? But there are some specific areas that you can't even have access to. And
when you say don't have access to, what do you mean?
They have barriers, security posts, where you will have to show your credentials or the reason why you have to, access those areas. And sometimes we have to navigate our way to be able to get to the river and take samples. There are times we have to rely on satellite images. Using the color of the water, we are able to correlate and determine the values of the turbidities. And it matches very well with areas where we have direct access that we can actually take samples to the laboratory. So we are all on the same page.
And what you what you say is not only shocking, you use the word frightening. I want to borrow it. Because now the Galamseyers are preventing the scientists from testing the turbidity of the water.
Yes.
And they're erecting barriers and making it hard, I believe, with threats of harm.
Exactly. And sometimes when we persuade them that we are only coming to take samples, but we are not coming to stop the Galamsey, then they may allow us to go and take the samples. But that impudence is beyond imagination, Evans. We all know the problems. What we need to do now is to look at the solutions. We have talked about these problems for so many years, and we cannot continue describing the problems all the time. It is beyond imagination. Like the Ghana Water Company official said, turbidity levels are not even supposed to be more than 500 NTU. And we had that in this country before. We managed the water resources in a way that we had turbidity levels below 500 NTU. Now we are going beyond 14,000. This will be the worst in the world.
There you have it. And this is the acting executive director of the Water Resources Commission saying that our water turbidity readings and units that we are getting highest in the world. Can you imagine?
That's serious. And did he say that they have to seek permission from these illegal miners to be able to do their work?
Yes.
Where are they getting this confidence from?
Now
who is empowering them?
The water body is theirs.
Yes.
You need permission to access it.
And they are beating water company workers, amongst others. Really, where is this confidence coming from?
Yeah.
And it's been reduced to which government was able to pollute the water better than the other. Interesting. Let's touch base with our correspondents on this. And the hashtag is hashtag no to Galamsey. And of course, Erastus Asaridonko, GGA Journalist of the Year, has been leading the team on this particular situation and this campaign. Well, Erastus has gone back to some of the areas he visited last year on this particular situation. Erastus, paint that picture for us.
So what we're just talking about, we found similar things on the Ankobra River, and we spent about 4 hours on the Ankobra River fact-checking claims that the river has cleared up. Now, you find people mining in the middle of the Ankobra River at various points, and they feel that the river belongs to them. One of them we learned on our trail went to a chief and said he wants that portion of the Ankobra River sold to him so he can continue to mine on the river. And we find all these things similar. When you go to the Tano River, we are just from there about 3 days ago. You have a mining company full of Chinese nationals that has pegged its washing bay.
Wait, Erastus, please give me some clarity. You are saying that this illegal miner went to the chiefs asking that part of the Ankobra River should be sold to him.
Yes, a particular portion of the Ankobra River where he thinks there is so much gold in that area. He wants it sold to him to become his property.
I see.
Yes.
What else did you find?
We went to the Tano River in Samreboy, and as we speak...
And Erasmus, just a second. I mean, no wonder we're hearing the Water Resources Commission boss say they are now erecting barriers to the riverside. Yeah. Because it is possible that people now believe it's theirs.
On the river, we found. In fact, if you go there to the areas called Awolenzo, Duale, those Nzema towns along the Azim coast on the Ankobra, there are those who are still mining directly on the riverbed as we speak. But what is happening at Samreboy is baffling. It's criminal. It's evil. You find Chinese nationals aided by their Ghanaian collaborators, and they peg the washing bay at the edge of the Tano River, and they are washing the mining residue directly into the river. And we have those footages we're going to show in subsequent days, and this is just evil to know that this is contaminated stuff, and they are washing it directly into a major river like the Tano. And we are seeing this across the Pra River as well. at Chifu Praso, Chifu Kotochi area, champagne machines sitting directly on it. Now the Ofin River in Ashanti region is gone. It's lifeless. The other day we flew the drone, we counted about 300 of the champagne machines sitting directly on it. Those who are mining alongside it and washing their residue directly into the river. With so much impunity, it looks as if they own the resource. And one particular chairman of a political party I will mention, he told me, in P, and in translation, currently what are we doing with the river? And he wants to tell me that we have to spoil it. At least if we spoil it and get gold for now, it will clear up later in future. And that's the mindset of the people who continue to perpetrate some of these nature crimes.
I really can't take any more from you, Erastus, on this particular situation. But let's check on the situation in the eastern region. Thank you, Erastus. Kofi Siao has also been checking on the situation in parts of the eastern region. Kofi Siao, tell me the situation is better there.
MFA, it's a very sorry situation in the eastern region. If you've used the Accra-Kumasi highway, right from a town like Achim, Osino to a place like Asaman, Tamfoy, and its surrounding areas, you could clearly see that these illegal miners are mining openly in the full glare of everybody. So I'll be surprised that law enforcement agencies and political power wielders will come to deny that they haven't seen anything like that, because it's open. Everybody sees it when you're in a vehicle traveling from Accra to Kumasi. You see these illegal miners mining along the Accra-Kumasi highway, and it's a very sad situation, because one wonders why we all see these illegal miners destroying our water bodies, but no one seems to care about the situation.
Kofi, thank you very much. And yesterday, something else that the Ghana Water Company rep on PMS says, the statement that was issued was about Central Region, Cape Coast, to be very specific. He says they're going to issue another statement about the Western Region, because they're having the same issues there, and that the plants there are now, they're risking shutdown because of the silt in the water, and that 60% of the water that you treat right now in that part of the country is silted. So they only have 40% to treat for you, and after the 40% they treat for you, they can only salvage 40% of that. And like 60% they have to throw away, because it's, no matter how much they spend to purify it, it will not be safe for you to drink. Yeah. So they'll just have to, waste the 60%, and 40% will come to your tap. Now, the difficulty with that is, if you go to 2022, the Ghana Water told us that that's at the time, if they purify the water, they only get 50% through your taps. 2 years on, it's dropped now to 40%. What it means that in 2 years, 10% of the water that we are now trying to purify is no longer able to come to your tap, because the Galamsey had made it too dirty for the chemicals to purify for you. So if you've lost 10% in 2 years, and that's the calculation that led to a decade will be running out. In the next 8 years, on the average, now you're losing 10% of the water you purify every 2 years. In 8 years, you would get to a point where when they purify the water, they wouldn't get anything for you to run to the tap. And that's why the Ghana Water Commission, the Water Resources Commission, is making the point that when you look at the turbidity levels, if it continues, you even have to wait 8 years for that to happen. And that for the machines they use to purify, the 2,000 NTU is actually too high for them. They were actually built for 500, and we are now having 14,000 NTU. So let's go to the Western region, where Ina is, and we're expecting to hear from the Ghana Water Company as far as that is concerned. Well, Ina will join us subsequently.
Okay, but we can hear from the Speaker of Parliament on this, as well as the National House of Chiefs shortly. But this is what Speaker Alban Bagbin said yesterday.
The people you are talking to are aware. It's not that they are not aware. They are aware that you are some of you are participating in it. So please, First, desist from doing it yourself. Don't go to them for the money for your campaigns. Don't go to solicit their votes. Let them see you work. Truly, it's a disgrace that we've gone to this far. Look at the water. Horrible. But that is no problem. It's only expensive. Well, annually, the water we get as a country can refill all these rivers. But how do you do away with what has already been polluted? And the environment, how do you repair the damage? That is the challenge we have. But God has blessed us with so much water that on an annual basis, we get water more than what we have now.
So that's a national crisis that we've been talking about. The Galamsey menace is back with a vengeance, actually.
And his assertions were validated by the Lands Minister himself when he came on the Super Morning Show today, indicating that the fight is more often than not hindered by some elements in the opposition and his party as well.
Ramp up your enforcement measures. You put in Operation Halt. You start to demobilize excavators and burn, if you want to call them, burn them, or demobilize equipment used for illegal mining. These same elements goes into the communities and tell them, look, when we come into office, we'll allow you to mine freely, indiscriminately. And this is on tape, it's on video, high-ranking opposition officers on video, on tape. You have another situation where when you ramp up your enforcement regime, then you have elements, some elements, and I say this with qualification, not all, some elements in the ruling party who say, well, the minister is trying to, is taking measures which will cost us the elections. The minister's actions is going to result, or the government's actions are going to result in the ruling party losing the elections and this and that. And then the truth also is that you have elements too whom, when you clamp down on them, they will come to you and make a lot of noise about how the party is being too draconian on its measures against illegal mining. But from where I sit and from where government sits, we do not have to be perturbed by any of those considerations.
Well, so that's the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry, but of course, we still need answers. That is not enough. Stakeholders' engagement, not enough. What exactly is the next way forward? And the hashtag...
Yesterday, Kenashigbe's group, that's the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining, they indicated they're now mobilizing, and part of the things that they'll be doing, hold the press conference, but secondly, hear the streets. Also, so they're mobilizing to hear the streets to demand action from the political duty bearers immediately.
I haven't hit the streets in a while, but this one, we're going all out.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, delayed rains in 8 food-growing regions have resulted in government's desperate moves to guard against food insecurity. But agriculture economist Dr. Robert Edu says the impact of drought on food security is only a symptom of the long neglect of irrigation in the country. From Kumasi, Nanaya Juma brings you today's edition of Climate Focus.
Most farmers were expecting their crops to be ready for harvesting in August. Unfortunately, most crops have failed to fruit due to prolonged dry spell, with farmers losing their investment. Dr. Shalom Adodanso, a senior research scientist with Ghana's Forestry Research Institute, explains the vulnerability of farmers to weather changes and climate variability.
The temperature is increasing. Rainfall has become erratic. But now you have a situation where sometimes you have a very intense rainfall, but within a short time. Then it can also be accompanied by dry spell durations.
Agabuga in the Pro East district of the Bono region is among the worst affected communities by the dry spell in the country.
We were expecting rains in June and July, but it never came. The maize should be fruiting by now, but it is not. The weather does not support farming. It may lead to shortage of food on the markets.
Walking through the farm, the soil is dried up. Most of the maize plants here are turning brown from the green leafy ones normally noticed with healthy plants. Jacob Naja weaves through his yam farm as he hopes for the rains.
We farm maize and granules as well. They are all not doing well now. This year, we will need the government support to cater for our families. We pray they have pity on us.
To many farmers, poor irrigation continues to be the bane of productivity. Agriculture economist Professor Robert Edu, however, explains poor implementation of the irrigation program has negatively affected efficiency.
The idea was fantastic because if those dams were working, then at least those in those communities will have access to water which they can use to irrigate. Unfortunately, it was supposed to be across so many villages and it was a bit overwhelming. I think that going forward, if government can focus, then within, let's say, a district, if you can even have just 4 places where you can have irrigation scheme that is working, it will help.
Dr. Ado Danson says farmers would also need to diversify their livelihood investments and reduce their exposure to climate risk.
Their imprint on climate change is also reduced so that the practices that they are doing does not lead to increase in the release of greenhouse gases. So for instance, using different varieties of crop is very important. Cropping at different times, so like crop rotation. These things that in the past our farmers, they know already, but the only thing is that we back it with the science.
Few months to the 2024 general elections, the 2 leading political parties who have played active roles in governance are proposing solutions in their manifestos. For Joy News, Nanaya Chima, Bono East.
And Climate Focus on Joy News is brought to you by Youth Bridge Foundation and Climate and Development Knowledge Network. Another edition of Climate Focus will come your way same time next week. It's time for business. George Riafe is here. You're getting ready for the demonstration against illegal mining.
Definitely. Well, coming up in business, Minister of Public Enterprises advocates for privatization of ECD to address pricing and revenue challenges, and Bank of Ghana looks at tight monetary policy and fiscal consolidation to help us sustain city's good run. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Sinter's Tanks and Pepsodent, Herbal and Charcoal.
Who at his spunky new office to congratulate him on opening his business. And man, was I impressed. The business is just moving quick. The sales, customers, everything is just working seamlessly. The secret? He said,
it's MTN Business Broadband. In this fast-paced environment, we need fast and reliable internet to support all business types. No laggy online meetings, great download and upload speeds, impeccable business management systems, all inclusive. I mean, you can have it all.
Sharp! I signed on immediately.
To enable your business stay ahead and stay connected, make sure you're signed on to the best internet made just for businesses. MTN Business Broadband. Sign up today on broadband.mtn.com.gh and manage your account on my MTN app. Call 0244 308 111 for more information. We are good together everywhere you go.
Hooray! Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited's back-to-school promotion is here with us once again. From August to September this year, Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited is giving a generous 10 to 20% discount on all school items like textbooks, pens, pencils, erasers, exercise books, and much more across all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Takrade, Winneba, and Cape Coast. Parents, teachers, and students, please hurry while stocks last. For more information, call us on 0506 487 557 or 0302 764 209 or via email at info@kingdomgh.com. You can also visit our website www.kingdomstoreonline.com. Kingdom Books, where quality and affordability are both assured. Terms and conditions apply.
Supposed to happen that we find the
Choboy! We have a new leader in town. OBRNT. Amafo. Madam was Sibebre. When him say my baby, maybe mamu more charcoal for whiter teeth. More charcoal. Not only that, maybe mamu lemon. More lemon. Zinc for fresher breath. More zinc. And fluoride for stronger teeth.
Introducing the new President Charcoal packed with more power with a combination of charcoal and lemon for naturally whiter teeth. Grab yours now. This advert is FDA approved.
The luckiest
*712#.
Luck is everywhere for everyone, yeah. The luckiest
*712#.
Luck is everywhere for everyone, yeah.
Doctors,
nurses,
barbers,
drivers,
bouncers,
friends,
teachers,
bankers.
You could be the luckiest. You could be the luckiest.
East, west, north, south.
go. The luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere. For everyone, yeah. The luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere. For everyone, yeah.
Doctors,
Nurses,
barbers,
drivers,
bouncers,
friends,
teachers.
bankers.
Star 712 hash.
You could be the luckiest.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, the Bank of Ghana has revealed that it will stay on that path of a tight monetary policy in the coming weeks to help sustain the city's recent recovery. There is more in this report.
The revelation could mean that the Bank of Ghana will still go ahead with measures that will help maintain tight liquidity on the market. This could result in some policy rate hikes in the coming months to help control the amount of money in circulation. The Bank of Ghana believes that this move may go a long way to ensure we don't have too much cedis in circulation that could fuel dollar purchases, as some individuals may take steps to hedge against inflation. The central bank also believes that this approach of the tight monetary policy will help in bringing down inflation rate on the market, which has been on the downward path in recent times. The Bank of Ghana is also looking forward to government pressing ahead with policy measures to control its expenditure and raise the required revenue that will also help in dealing with confidence issues about the economy. The Bank of Ghana is also signaling that it is committed to improve dollar support for the market through its auction programs. It believes these measures should help sustain the recent gains made by the Ghana cedi.
And that is a Business Desk report. Now, businesses and consumers are not that optimistic about the outlook of the economy. Now, that's according to the latest consumer confidence survey released by the Bank of Ghana. Now, this has been influenced by the high food prices and concerns about the outlook of the economy going forward. Now, this is despite assurances from government that it will be prudent with expending this year to help contain the budget deficit and overruns. Meanwhile, economist Dr. Priscilla Chumisi-Barfour maintains that a lot more needs to be done to stabilize the city to deal with the concerns of businesses.
The sustenance of the exchange rate, I will say that it means we need to limit the extent to which we are dependent on imports. And so, for example, are there conversations, are there attempts for us to, for instance, produce a lot of the things that are not very important yet imported into the country? We know that yes, some classes of imports, there's nothing we can do because we do not have the expertise. I believe that as a country we should get back to basics and produce some of these things to ease the persistent pressure on the city.
Economist Dr. Priscilla Chumisi-Barfour. Now, the Minister of Public Enterprise, Joseph Kujo, is making a strong case for the privatization of the District Company of Ghana to deal with losses when it comes to power sold and also some enhancing of efficiency. The Minister maintained that pricing issues and also impacting it badly going forward with respect to the operations and also the impact of the foreign exchange losses. He believes that going this way may go a long way to deal with the challenges facing the company. He made these remarks on the sidelines of the Ghana Gas 2024 roundtable discussion in Accra.
Are we able to make that key decision that the service delivered by ECG is an economic service? For that matter, ECG is supposed to pay dollar bills or generation when it comes to power generation in the country. What goes into it by way of fuel and equipment and everything, dollar based, and then against a CD revenue, which is subject to depreciation, and we are not doing what I would call right pricing. If ECG were a private company, looking at its own circumstance, it would be very easy to manage.
Joseph Kujo is the Minister for Public Enterprises. The government has justified the proposed 1,000 Ghana cedi as compensation for farmers affected by the dry spell in some parts of the country. It follows criticisms that the proposed support does not even meet a quarter of their investment cost. But the Greek Minister Brani Champon insists the money is part of a total package the government is working to extend to these farmers.
I'm saying that I'm going to give you all the seeds that you require to replant. So everything that you lost in terms of maize seed, improved maize seed, and fertilizer, I'm going to give it to you. That in itself, okay, it's about 4,000 Ghana cedis per acre. I am also going to give you 1,000 Ghana cedis in addition. I am going to give you food grants, because when you harvest, you are supposed to keep it for 1 year. If you put that together, that is not 1,000 Ghana cedis. You realize that the government actually, or maybe punching above his body weight.
Brian Champon is the Minister of Agric. Let's turn our attention to the stock market and persons that have invested in the market from January to now have made a return of almost 39%, higher than comparing it to treasury bills and other investment instruments on the market. And that's all for business on Newsnight.
We do some of your messages that you've sent in via WhatsApp. And I'll go through some of them quickly. And this one here says the Galamsey fight requires a concerted effort rather than leaving it to the government to fight it, which at the end of the day, NDC members are also on the ground urging them on. So that's Nana Ekwamwa Mwating Ablikuma Central. We're hoping that this politics is sickening, this politics about Galamsey and who did it best and who did not do it well. Really, really sickening. Stephen in Tema says, how do the president and the subordinates feel when they watch the TV and listen to the radio reports of the harms Galamsey is doing to this country? He has seriously failed us and the generations to come. And this one from Nana, Spintex Road. We'll take that.
I have Douglas, rather,
Okay.
in my list. And Douglas says, since we live in a country where laws do not work, and people simply do not obey what the law says, how on earth is Ghana Water Company now asking permission from the Galamseyers? And well, it's not the Ghana Water Commission, is the Water Resources Commission that is now asking permission from the Galamseyers. Is this serious? Why can't any government stand firm to fight the Galamsey or the Galamsey? People, are they saying they're stronger than the government? Let the military take forces into the forest, he says. Douglas sent us that one.
And Nana's message says, did we hear Anodompre comparing NDC and NPP, the contamination of our rivers? Okay, please, citizens aren't interested in who is overdone or who is polluting our waters. Currently, our rivers are muddy and NPP is in power, and we want them to be honorable as they claim to be. And Daniel Kutswati from East Legon says, in fact, Ghana has lost the fight against Galamsey. No amount of words will change that. It's only God who can save us from this situation. It is not God. It is you and I.
Well, the Ghana Education Service has instituted a 2-week investigation into incidents that led to the stabbing and killing of an 18-year-old final year student of the O'Reilly Senior High School here in Accra. The deceased, Edward Bokete Saki, was alleged to have been involved in an argument and scuffle with a colleague student who allegedly stabbed him multiple times in the chest. According to reports, he was rushed to the Lekma Hospital where he was reported dead. Now, Director General of the Ghana Education Service today led a delegation to commiserate with the family, assuring that the matter will be dealt with. The GS has just released a statement, and my colleague James Abveji is here with details of this. What is the GS saying?
Yes, Evan. So this is issued by the PR department, and it says that they hope to conclude their administrative investigations within 2 weeks while the police service handles the criminal investigation. The GAS says it is pleased to report that calm has been restored to the campus of the school, and they are working to ensure the well-being and safety of all students and staff. The GS remains committed to providing a secure and conducive learning environment for all students, and will continue to work tirelessly to prevent such incidents and ensure the safety of student and academic work on all campuses. They also go on to urge the public to refrain from speculations and allow the investigative process to unfold and provide updates as they deem necessary when it is available, signed by the PRO.
of the education service.
We've been hearing from the father of the deceased.
Yes, he spoke to the media right after the engagement with the Ghana Education Service. He says they will give the GS the time they want to use for the investigations. If after that justice is not delivered, they may take a legal action against the Ghana Education Service.
I want to give them the benefit of the doubt with what they are, how do you call it? What did he say? The man, Director General said. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt that we should give him 2 weeks. The family is going to hear from them. So the family want to hold on for that 2 weeks and hear what they'll come out with. If they don't come out with anything reasonable, I think we'll take the legal action against them. According to what he said the school have rules, but everything will go under 2 weeks. The school will do their investigation, what caused all those problems, together with the police. Okay, fine. It's law, so we have to give them that chance for them to do all their investigations to know what caused the death of my son. So uncomfortable. I'm so messed now. So much in pain. I'm not expecting this. But that's happened.
Meanwhile, the Municipal Chief Executive for Lejokuku, Mordecai Kwashi, says while investigations are ongoing into the case, steps are being taken to ensure safety of teachers and students following that protest from residents.
Clearly, there are security issues with the school that we need to take care of in order to empower the school to take charge of security and the discipline. So the first actions we will take will relate to these two things. Immediately we are going to also the home of the deceased young man to go and solidarize with the family and express our sympathy and condolences. Our purpose right now is to calm things down and reduce the tensions so that the students can finish their exams in peace. We also will reassure the family that the investigations are ongoing and that the truth will be established in relation to all what they have heard. You can imagine how traumatic an event this is for students who are writing exams. Indeed, some wrote exams immediately after the event. Your guess is as good as mine in what state of mind the students would have been in. And so counseling is ongoing to help them to deal with the trauma of this event. So it is ongoing.
So that's the MC for the area, and we await the outcome of this particular investigation that has been instituted by the Ghana Police Service. Let's do sports. Musbal, what do we have?
The 2025 African Cup of Nations qualifier, Black Stars in action tomorrow against Angola at the Barbara Sports Stadium. And ahead of that, head coach Otoado has been speaking and he's issued a strong warning to his players to avoid underestimating their opponent as they prepare for the game. He believes that the Angolans are a very strong side. However, he's also confident in his team's chances in the game tomorrow.
Ramp up your...
You can keep ministers and members of parliament out.
For years with this coach, and it's going to be very, very tough. If you see their last results, also playing against Cameroon, draw, they lost only by 1 goal to Nigeria, 1 goal to Morocco. Then you can see what quality this team have. So it won't be easy for us. We have got good players as well, very good players. So I'm convinced that we can beat them, but it won't be easy. And also we had some injuries. But I think the squad is ready. We have a lot of players who can match up, and the rest. So we have more which are injured. I wish them a speed recovery, and then we see how the season goes when they can come back.
Well, that's Otoado there, and apologies for the earlier sound there. Well, head coach for the Angolan side is already raising concerns about officiating. He says that Ghana did benefit from some what he describes as unfortunate officiating in the last game against Central African Republic, and his side is wary of that, but charging the officials to be bold despite the very strong atmosphere they will be under at the Barra Sports Stadium.
I care because everybody watched the last matches, and even the last match Ghana against the RCA. If you ask me the name of the referees, I don't know, but for sure we are worried about, because in the last match a lot of things happened for Ghana. Yeah, for sure it's important the referee be brave and courage about the atmosphere for tomorrow.
Pedro Congaf is there, the head coach for the Angolan side. Evans, that's it for sports. The game is at 4 p.m. tomorrow at the Barra Sports Stadium.
And thank you very much, Ms. Bauer. So live here on News 90 on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, only on traders who relocated from Agbogbloshie to Ajin Kotoku. Others morning raising concerns about their worsening plight since their relocation 3 years ago. The poor nature of the road to Ajin Kotoku, low customer turnout, and inadequate infrastructure, among others, is making it difficult for them to thrive in their new location, forcing some of them to return to the Agbogbloshie market. My colleague Sweetia Bochi spent some time with the traders and filed this report.
The onion market here at Ajin Kotoku is a lively hive of activity as trucks unload sackloads of onions to be distributed to intermediaries, wholesalers and retailers. But in the midst of the hustle and the bustle, stories unfold. First, I spoke with Alhaji Masawudu, the chairman of the Onion Sellers Association at Ajin Kotoku. He expressed that while the new location is manageable, there are 3 critical challenges hindering their progress here.
We have sanitation problem, we have bad road, and then the patronage. That's the 3 main issues. I mean, when we are talking about the road, it's a big problem, a big issue. From the main road, they are doing the road. And if you reach mid-year, from mid-year to Ajin Kotoku, that's the worst problem. And if you reach from 3 Junction to Ajin Kotoku, that's the worst problem. And then right now, all the trucks pass through mid-year to this place. Some of the truck got spoiled through the mid-year road to Ajin Kotoku. We often go and find a towing car from police, to tow this truck to here. Because if they are passing, you will see the shafts and then the springs, and then every time you pass there, you will see a broken car on the road. One day you will see there is no truck. If the women come and buy, they don't have a car to take them to their destination. Instead of, we will have 8 trucks yesterday, all of them spoil on the road.
All of them?
All of them spoil on the road. So we have 3 trucks. So the remaining will bind with today's one, and then they will come. You will see the patronage will come.
Patronage.
The patronage is simply because of the bad road. People are coming, but if you come here today, you won't come tomorrow. Because how the car will shake you and then everything, and then
Meet Forgive, Diner and Mercy, 3 onion sellers from Dodowa and Adam who regularly buy sacks of onions at wholesale prices here and retail them in their communities. Their experiences as regular buyers at Ajin Kotoku are a mixed bag.
You face challenges, baby. Lorry fare na kosro. Nyama no so every day no more to so. Baby I do say cause kwan no so enye cars no da car beba bebre no de obon say e beti so amom. Se car short pe no ma increases car no.
I think the market at Agbogbloshie was far better than here because it was a more centralized place for onions. That means more trucks, more onions at relatively lower prices. Now it is more like survival of the fittest, so we are the ones suffering. We are only appealing that the roads be fixed because it will fix most of our problems.
Yes.
At Agbogloshi, we could get a bag of onions for 300 cedis because it was more centralized. But because of the roads and the resultant increment here, we get a bag of onions for 1,500 cedis.
From 300 cedis to 1,500 cedis.
Yeah, 1,007, 1,008, 1,000 now. I know almost 100.
800, 700. They say I thought Jenny 1917.
From the drivers, the very pivotal role in this whole value chain, the people who transport the onions to and from here at Ajen Kotoku.
Ye pa mani chow, you load wa ye ble. Say, we load niyama free ha. Ube tutu ma biwa from what funny ma kura de kota kwano from Haba market.
Loading things from here to Takwa and other places is such a terrible experience. The potholes are death traps, especially from Media to this place. If you are not lucky, you will need to repair 4 springs by the end of the journey. Meanwhile, spare parts are so expensive. By the end of the week, you are either buying a tire or spring. Sometimes when the cargo trucks break down, we have to go and bring in the goods.
Because as I said, so man van bibia and a daho and I brewer hands so there. And there is better.
Well, that's my colleague Sweetie Abochi's interaction with traders and drivers at the Ajin Kotoku market. The MCE for the area, Clement Wilkinson, says the challenge will be resolved soon.
That road has been given to a contractor, and the contractor have done a lot within the township, which Ajen Kotoku, the people of Ajen Kotoku is aware of what the contractor is doing. But the main road has to be asphalt road. So we are trying to do something like a 2-lane, a two here. So that is the design that we are asking them to do now as we speak. But because with immediate action that people are in need of that road, we have asked the contractor to do the single lane that has been given to him. And the vice president was there last week. He said it to the people of Ajen Kotoku because there is a children's hospital which has been built, and he was there for inspection. And very soon they will finish. So he asked myself and the regional minister to speed up on that Ajen Kotoku road.
And that's the MC for the area. Let's get into the election headquarters.
Election Headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol Platinum Energy, energizing dreams, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants (CIMA) and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants (AICPA), together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental, Wellness and Beauty, Chopbox Technologies, a convenient service, and Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging the gap for positive youth development.
Another campaign trail tonight. The NPP flag bearer Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has been touring the Okankwe constituencies here in the Greater Accra region and set to address a rally. Also, we know that in the Bono East region, flag bearer of the NDC, John Mahama, continues his 4-day tour and has been mocking government, especially the lack of rainfall, and Asabit has been following him.
John Dramani Mahama's Bono East tour began with a mini rally with the chiefs and people of Amoma in the Kintampo South constituency, where he used the opportunity to outline some key messages in the party's 2024 Resetting Ghana manifesto.
Our manifesto includes provisions for every region with plans to allocate large tracts of land for factories.
Private businessman.
Some of this land will be offered to private entities, which will in turn create jobs for everyone in the region.
And we know that Dr. Hassan Ayariga, the APC's Dr. Hassan Ayariga, also has a running mate today, Dr. Wolasi Mensah. Already he's been firing both the NPP and the NDC. And now to the camp of the CPP also, the party has retained Nana Sapon Kumankuma as the flag bearer. Well, the PNC is also getting ready for its Congress already. It suffered an injunction That and more will bring you subsequently. And that's how we wrap up News Night tonight. Strong and sassy.
Hi, MFR. Hi.
What's up? What are we
Happy
talking
School
about
Feast Week to you guys. I don't know if it's this week or next week for you.
You guys minus you. Eh?
I'm suddenly sick. No, because it's not a happy week. Can't you tell? It's not easy on this side of Accra. Evans, you're feeling my pain. Eh?
I can feel your pain.
Thank you very much.
Because I'm feeling it too.
Charlie, it's very tight. Anyways, we're talking about insecurity in relationships. Have you ever dated somebody who has insecurity issues?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was it horrible?
Always horrible.
Do you think it was your fault?
Absolutely not.
Do you think that you could have done something to make it better?
No.
Wow.
No.
Why not? You don't feel like your behavior maybe was given some sort of vibes?
Absolutely not.
So you think it was just all hair?
All hair. I mean,
all in her head.
There's really nothing you can do when somebody feels insecure. In fact, sometimes when you try harder, that actually then becomes another avenue to sort of reinforce the insecurity. There's a question: why all of a sudden? Why are you doing this? You didn't do it before.
Okay,
you can't win.
I completely disagree with you, but I mean, anyway, stay tuned in. We're talking about insecurity in relationships.
Have you been in an insecure relationship?
I have been insecure in a relationship
Have you
before.
felt insecure yourself?
I don't feel insecure on my own. And then I was in a relationship and I realized that the insecurity is actually not my fault. It's actually because people...
Who was being insecure? You? Or
the time that I was, yeah. But because people are just funny and sometimes men give up mixed signals and funny vibes and all sorts of things. So it's a bit complex.
I'm looking forward to hearing your story on this one.
You won't hear my story. Definitely not. But anyway, all that and more coming up next on Strong and Sassy.